Let's go.
Let's go. I think we need to remake our lobby because it's like bugged out.
Oh, I'm just standing here in the open field looking at a smoke billow in the background, an orange dazer, and this is Dog.
This is Dog.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm good. How are you?
Justin's online. Just invite Justin.
Just dial it in.
We're on the verge of a win.
This is maybe our longest drought since the Melf drought of 1997.
We won one with Mouth, didn't we? Yeah, we did in the last recording session, I think, earlier.
No, I'm saying like we went on a slump with Melf in I think season 1 for like 30 eps, didn't we?
Well, like the first 60 episodes.
Yeah, we didn't win until like 2 months later.
All
they need to do is patch in Siege's gunplay.
I think
it becomes an 11 out of 10.
Gunplay is fine in this game. It's the netcode that's the problem. The gunplay itself is great.
Load into Siege and you fire a gun, you will be like, why does PUBG exist?
Nah, but okay, I gotta have experience.
Versus 100 versus 100.
I hope that's what Ubisoft's doing. They're making a Rainbow Six Battle Royale.
Yo, that could be the PUBG killer.
No, Ubisoft
doesn't. They'll find some way to mess it up. Like
Tom Clancy's Battle Royale.
Yeah, and then you have to buy guns and loot boxes.
Yeah, they'll find some way to screw it up.
Wait, is there loot boxes in Siege?
Sort of. There's not. It's tough to explain, but the cliff notes are there are loot boxes, but the loot boxes don't have heroes in them. But the heroes, there's no way to get them except you can grind for. And people are gonna take issue with this, but it's true. Every DLC hero is like 20 hours of gameplay and in-game currency to earn.
Okay.
Or $6 per operator.
Do you need the operators to play the game?
No.
Are they the strongest operators, though?
No, it's not pay to win.
Okay.
It's just a different experience.
Like, after... I hate that, because if you pay $40 for a game, give me the fucking characters. Like, that's absolute horseshit. But that's why Dota is so good. You don't buy Dota. It is there. You play it. There is nothing in that game you have to buy. Literally nothing. It is all there for you. The only thing you can buy are cosmetics. That is the perfect model.
I agree with that. And you know who else adopts that model?
Fortnite.
That's fine. That's good. I'm happy for them then.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, because it's like, hey, look, people that want to spend money in the game will probably support the development of the game well beyond those that don't.
I mean, so I streamed Siege today. I bought like $30 worth of content, and I was like, I'm content with that. I bought a few new operators. I had fun. They release like 8 operators a year or something, so it really is like $50 a year or a lot of gameplay. But I'm of two minds about it, I guess.
Well, here's my thing.
Wait,
if you spend... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, are all the operators DLC? Because then it's not as bad.
If all of the operators are, well, I mean, there's like maybe 18 that are in the base game,
and you have to unlock those too.
Okay, so again, it's a little, I wouldn't say complicated, but it's not quite that simple.
Yo, C-Dot! Do you see C-Dot?
Oh yeah, there is a C-Dot here. You're not wrong.
I'm so bad on the drop, by the way. Like, good luck, guys.
Yeah, I gotta have to fight these guys.
The ones that were in version 1, you do have to unlock with in-game currency, but you unlock like 1 per match or 1 every couple of matches. And then the ones that are DLC for cash are literally like 50 times more expensive.
So, what's your guys' thought on this? So you buy a game for $50, okay? Like say Siege, whatever it costs.
Sorry, I'm dead. Okay, continue.
Do you expect to play that game for 3 years and not pay another $50 in some form or fashion?
It depends. I think DLC is not as complicated as people think it is. Like, if there's just a TLC pack and it has a bunch of content in it and you pay for it, I think that's fine.
Did you say TLC?
You did say TLC.
Did I say? I may have missed.
T-Boz, Chili, and Left Eye.
But if I don't like the little sprinkling thing where it's like, oh, here's a thing for $2, here's another thing for $3, here's $5, here's another small thing for... No, I don't like that. I think that's
yeah, it does that.
That's I
it
think
definitely does that.
That's trying to get more money out of things.
Yes, I agree. I think that the way they monetize that game is a little shady, but
is it cosmetic sprinklings?
No.
yes and no.
Let's go.
Absolutely shat on that, man.
Thank you.
No, I'm talking to Dan.
I know.
What'd you say?
Said
I
you
got knocked out with a windy over here, Dan.
What'd you say about Shadow, Austin?
Said you shat on that, man.
Oh, shat. All right, where you at, Ryan?
Not safe for work dog food. That's a great name. Oh, there's a guy.
In this,
Get that Susie.
today's day and age,
I'm out.
Yeah, 20 more.
people, they make the argument, and they made it about Battlefront, that, you know, games, $60, you know, it doesn't get you as far in 2017 as it used to. And oh, Dan, one's coming from your 200.
You gotta go save your boy. You're running away from him.
Hello, Tomo.
What? Was
You okay, buddy?
It's out to the left. To the left. Dan, to the left. You passed right by him.
You got a weird meow again, Tomo.
Oh. I was trying to play Dipsy Doo on him. But like a game like Siege, like you should be paying $50 a year for it.
I disagree.
What? With constant updates that they're doing, you just get that for free?
Well, I mean, you're not getting it for free. You paid $60 when you bought it.
I think I kind of agree with Dan, but not $50. I think there's a
No,
reasonable
what's
amount of money you can give a year if they're gonna keep updating the game. But again, I think you just gotta monetize it, not shittily.
I think that Siege is slightly on the, I wouldn't say unethical, but slightly on the scummy side.
He has no
but I'm
bounce.
okay with it. Oh, sure. I was like the not Battlegrounds, sorry, the Battlefront thing that annoyed me was when people were like, "Oh, we don't like loot crates anymore." Well, games are expensive. Dan, you're not in our party anymore.
He is.
I'm
It's a bug. Just
Oh, okay. So I am with you as well, actually, on this, where I'm like, you know, if you expect to play a game for 3 or 4 years after it comes out, you should be okay with putting a little extra money into it. However, I don't think $50
Oh
a
my
year
God, get us
strikes
outta
me
here.
as- $50 a year strikes me as a little egregious.
Well, that's what?
$5 a month almost.
$5 a month, and if it's the only game, say you're logging 40, 50 hours, if they're developing the game,
I think
like
that's the
who's paying
thing.
for the development?
Okay, well, what if it's not the only game I play?
Why are they still developing it and working and putting out new stuff?
Yeah, but do I still have to pay $5 a month, or can I give them $1 a month?
I think
That's your
you're
choice.
both kind of right here. Like I think there's no. Oh my
You want
God.
to bounce?
Please. I think there's no harm in having DLC content later on after you're done like making the game. I just think that you need to be reasonable with it. Like, just don't be an asshole. And these companies can't do that. And because
As long as it's not like, you know, you pay $5 for 2 crates and you have a chance to get what you want. Even if it's overly priced, the fact that you can just buy whatever you want with real money, you could charge $150 for an operator in Rainbow Six Siege, and I would be like, well, never gonna buy it, but at least I know how much it's gonna cost me. It's really when it's like, hey, all that stuff you want, you can't buy it, but you can gamble for it. That's where I go, that's stupid. I don't want to, like, yeah, it's unethical.
Are you talking about cosmetics though?
In cosmetics, I don't care as much, but
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
I
the
am
same way.
kind of like, I'm like sort of against the CS:GO Dota style of loot box at this point in my
I
existence.
used to not.
Overall.
I kind of agree. Oh my fucking God! Can we just like enter the house and not make a bunch of fucking noise? Like, is that the thing that we could do? Not be singing along to your phone at 100% volume while the dog
Are you
barks?
talking about your roommates?
Yeah, I am.
What song is it?
Ooh.
I don't fucking know, some country song. Just
Gucci Gang, Gucci
yeah,
Gang.
I wish it was Gucci Gang, honestly. At least I
Put a
could
little
laugh.
mud on the tires.
You have a problem with cosmetic loot boxes.
I sort of do now,
Why?
because I think it kind of takes advantage of a flaw in human psychology.
I definitely like. I think I've been biased my whole like because I kind of argue for them, but I think more and more I'm turning against them because I recognize that. I go and I buy loot boxes and I go, man, this is fun and it's taking my money and like I'm definitely falling for the trap. But I realize it, so it's okay, and I won't go crazy with it. But I guess some people just don't have that control, and that's shitty for them, right? Like, but my argument has always been, and that people never agreed with this, but like, if you have a kid and you're giving him money and he's using it on loot boxes, you're a dumb parent. You should be, teaching your kid better and like watching his money better. But if you're an adult and you throw away all of your money on loot boxes in a video game that give you not real items, holy Christ, then that's on you, my dude. But I've been falling away from that opinion as time goes on.
Well, I think the ecosystem, as I saw it, was fine. And when people would be like, oh, this money-hungry company released a hat for $10, I'd be like, hey, just don't buy it. But Battlefront kind of ruined it for everybody, in my mind.
What is the dog doing in here?
I'm now of the position that's essentially like, nah, no more loot boxes. You ruined it.
But Battlefront there was nothing in it that was cosmetic.
Even still, let's say it's maybe caused an overcorrection, or maybe it's improper calibration, for me at least, of like, if half the fun of the loot boxes is just rolling the virtual dice and seeing what you get, then maybe like it's worth it to just cut these out. And I understand why people are against it. There's the one argument that is like, what about free will? And I'm like, okay,
that's like my argument is like, why do the people who enjoy gambling and are responsible with it punished, right? And not allowed.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to
like,
do it. Is that worth it? No, that's the question.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
That's pretty much where I come down. It's like,
I think that's why, like,
probably some people, and maybe there's an argument to be made for this. There's probably some people that could responsibly use like heroin or crocodile or something like that.
What's crocodile?
It's a Russian super drug that causes your arm to turn into like a Spider-Man villain.
That sounds awesome.
Here's my thing. The only regulation or only thing I think that they should do is make sure the person's not a kid, right?
Yeah, 21 and up. Like that, I think that's where I sit. Is like, yeah, make them 21 and up.
And just have some sort of authentication system, like do like a voice modulator or voice regulator. And if it sounds like this, then you can't do it. Well, Dan, not really.
I think I think it's more of a moral dilemma than people like make it out to be. Like, I think the people going loot boxes are literal evil and should be removed and are terrible and there's no place, I think that's wrong. But I think the people who are like, hey, loot boxes are great and we shouldn't do anything about them are also wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody's wrong.
I mean, I don't think they're great. I think it's another form of vice, but in the landscape of vices, it's not that. I mean, I guess it could be damaging. Oh,
that's me!
I'm sorry, I didn't see your name. Did I hit you though?
Yeah, look at my HP.
Oh, good. I'm getting better with the steel. I got an energy drink if you want.
I got two boys here, and they drove up, and I'm probably gonna die now.
I got a Winchester. I'm good.
Where's Austin?
I'm getting in that ass.
I'm of the position that, like, I don't know if this is if people are now coming around to this idea or if it's still very unpopular, but maybe all AAA games should be $80 now.
Probably a koala. That's another great name.
Excuse me? You're in that camp or you're not?
If developers are going to beat the drum, or publishers in particular, are going to beat the drum of like, hey, games have been the same price for 10 years, and in order for us to keep making AAA experiences with a team of like, 300 people, we need to charge more for our games. If I'm like, well, come out and say it and do it, and then, we'll kind of let the market bear it if it will. But they have no faith, and maybe they're right, that people will
You guys
buy
may as well not go there.
Games. Okay.
See, I disagree. I think if just make a better game and then more people will buy it. And then
but it's not like you can't just do that though.
What do you mean you can't? If you don't make a good game, you don't deserve the 60.
It's a very kind of like the free market knows all sort of approach to it, I think. Like there are amazing games that are unprofitable.
So they shouldn't be made.
Why not though?
Because if people are going to lose money to make a game.
It happens all the time.
Well, I would be in the camp of saying you probably should. How is that any different than
But like
flushing your money down the toilet in loot boxes?
Because we're kind of, I'm not even going to argue from the position of like, we're going to go back this other way. I just realized after Austin told us that we kept running. But like, it's essentially, if the only reason the game exists is to turn a profit on loot boxes, I'm completely disinterested in it. And there are games, I think Battlefront 2 is probably guilty of being a game that essentially exists as like a profit-driving engine. But the problem is, you know, people these days, and I think that there's a fair point to be made here, the consumers don't want to buy a $60 game that is a 8 to 12 hour single-player campaign, even if it's amazing. So companies are going, how the heck are we going to justify the investment of, you know, producing this game we want to make when it doesn't seem profitable? And loot boxes are kind of an insidious but effective way of potentially making that happen. The compromise I would prefer is just making them a little bit more expensive up front instead of it all being subsidized by like 2% of players who are whales, whether they're of sound mind or not when making the purchase. But I also accept that I know this industry, and if Nintendo came out with a $70 game and everybody else was $60, I wouldn't be able to go on Twitter for like 2 weeks because it would just be like, what is this company doing?
Well, I think you said it with the first thing you said. You said it's not profitable to make an 8 to 12 hour single player experience for a AAA manufacturer, AAA publisher. So
Perhaps,
don't
yeah.
make it. Don't make it.
But people also are beating the drum of wanting that. Like, I know you're in your head right now, you're going, well, why don't they buy it then? It's because of the fact that it's like a tough sell in today's age.
Maybe
to pay
these games
$60 for it. But not
maybe
every
these
game.
games shouldn't cost $100 million to make. Maybe, hey.
But then it's the games that people want. When a game comes out that costs $10 million, everyone goes, looks like shit. You're right that there are, like, there's...
DAE Undertale?
I was just going to say, there's tons of counterexamples. But really, you're just saying, like, why isn't every song Runaway? Every artist has a Runaway in them somewhere. Why can't they just get it out, you know?
No, well, they do, people try to, but they don't hit, right? So you got. I'm sure there's a rapper in the Midwest cranking out 5 beats a day for 3 summers, and 500 of his beats are gonna suck. But maybe he gets one that pops off, and good for him. But he's not spending $100 million to make each beat.
I can only disagree with you because of the fact that when a AAA game comes out and it's a 7, everybody goes, this is junk. Like, I think by and large, most expensive games that come out are pretty good. Most of them, at least.
I would push back.
You're the #1 purveyor of Star Citizen in our whole group. The game has literally cost like $300 million.
It's not even done yet.
I know, that's exactly what I'm getting at.
But
I also
have you played Assassin's Creeds that are garbage? I think so.
I don't think the Assassin's Creed games are garbage. I think those are above average games. Even the ones that are not masterpieces.
Have you played Call of Duties that are garbage?
I have played a garbage Call of Duty, yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. People aren't gonna buy garbage.
But we're veering close to an economic argument of like, the only reason for something to exist is to drive profit.
Not true. If you want to make a game that expresses whatever you want to express, make it. But make sure you have money so you don't lose your tail in it. Or make it a small version of it.
I feel like, in a way, I have sympathy for publishers. Because to some extent, I think that consumers don't... I'm not going to say they don't know what they want. But I will say that I think they have trouble coming to grasp with things. Like, people simultaneously believe that games are the worst they've ever been. And they underestimate how much they cost to make. And yet at the same time, whenever a publisher tries to sneak in another way to make money, they go, here you go, it's just another example of human greed. And there's a case to be made for that. You know, when the Battlefront stuff was happening, came out that the EA CEO and like everybody that was a VP level and above was making like literally $8 million a year in bonuses. So that stuff I think is like inexcusable. Yet at the same time, I feel like something's got to give. You know, has game development gotten cheaper? For indie developers, absolutely. For AAA developers, I don't know.
Look at PUBG. Just go to the Unity store and buy a couple structures. No, I get it, but it's like, bottom line is that, okay, if you're buying something from EA, and this is a blanket statement, like, people have a bad taste in their mouth over things they've done, so why would they expect anything different? You know what I mean? But yet EA, how much are they going to make on Battlefront 2? Enough to justify Battlefront 3? You know what I mean?
Possibly, yeah.
So that's what I don't get. It's like, if the market is rewarding that sort of behavior, why would anyone think it's going to change? Because it's not.
I can agree on that, I suppose. Austin?
Sorry, I'm captivated by news headlines.
Oh, yeah.
We won't bring up those headlines because we're probably already on a... No, but I mean, I'm with you on, like, do I think a game should just be made to make money? No, but like, I think
like we're actually like we're close.
Yeah.
We're close on the spectrum because it comes up on Roundtable all the time. You know, people are like, well, this game that was, you know, $60, now they're releasing $15 DLC, and I go, yeah, of course it is, because they've been supporting the game with like a development team and servers and constant patches and stuff like that for 2 years. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just do that for free forever, even after like you've exhausted the initial investment? I think a lot of people implicitly think the answer is yes, and those people I don't know if they can be reasoned with. But I also noticed that, like, I think some companies are guilty of pushing it too far, and it stopped. The same thing, I'm gonna make an allegory. The same thing happens with YouTubers. You know, a YouTuber, myself included, when we do a sponsored stream, sometimes there'll be a little pushback in chat, and someone in chat, bless their hearts, will go, hey, you know, they got to keep the lights on. That's not what it's about most of the time. Most of the time, it's for the money. It's not like, if I do a sponsor deal, it's not so I can buy groceries. And I would love to be able to go, hey guys, for those of you not feeling this right now, like, it's been a lean month. I really need this money to buy groceries. Like, you know, I need this money to pay a medical bill or something like that. Most of the time, it's not like that. It's
You're
just
like, you're like, hey, these are buying me and Kate a pair of matching Yeezys.
probably just Kate, but still, like, you know, I think some companies, they take it a little. We got to veer left a little bit. They take it a little beyond the point of not even just like self-sustaining, but like they compromise the experience of the players for the monetization of things in general. Like, Battlefront 2, from the outside at least, seemed like a game that was essentially designed around selling people loot boxes. Whether that's an accurate interpretation, I can't say for certain.
Yeah,
but
it's terrible because it affects gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Siege is a wonderful game that is just like slightly marred by the fact that whenever a new operator comes out, you go, really? You know, like $8 for this guy? But for the most part, I think it's fairly, I don't want to say irrelevant, but it's not as egregious. So I as always, I come down to being like, I have sympathy for the business most of the time, and being like, hey, people want to pay $60 and play our game for 4 years, but you know, we need to find some way to continue to get some money out of them so that we can keep the lights on, you know, pay our staff, and maybe get to work on another project or something eventually. But
yeah,
I wish it weren't loot boxes.
But see, here's my thing. I think I agree with everything you said. I think the key is to make it voluntarily and non-gameplay affecting, and I think that solves 99% of the issues.
On a certain level, I kind of agree, but again, 3 months ago, I would have been 100%. I mean, we talked about this 3 months ago. I'd be 100% in your camp. But I think what seems nefarious to me about loot chests now, as I become more sensitive to them because I'm a baby, is the idea that the loot boxes themselves are fun, and that is kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, in no matter what form you put it in, even in Battlegrounds, which had the worst like dopamine loop ever, just like I got a shirt, you know, like not even the spinning lights and, you know, the blizzard sticky feeling of like I want to open 1 million of these. It's still implicitly fun to kind of have to push a button and then have a variable amount of reward come in
At a mysterious level.
Yeah, and that's what scares me, is that it's like too powerful. It's like brainwashing.
Well, I agree. That's why they have like laws against that in real life, and it's called gambling. And I think that if there's ever a light to be shown on what's going on, like even NBA 2K, like in NBA 2K, you can play people in virtual basketball for virtual money. So if you win X amount of virtual coins, right? But it has, so like, I just think like it's gambling. But it's not regulated like gambling is in any other.
It needs
entity.
like there's no argument against regulation. Like you have to.
I really
regulate
think it does need some form of regulation.
Absolutely. I don't think
Even
you can
though I
argue
know
against
every
that.
time I bring this up, every time I bring this up, someone in chat goes, well, like, what about the adults? And I'm like, well, if you're an adult,
You're not going to be regulated.
and also stop crying.
Well, no, but
get over it.
But gambling is still regulated for adults.
No,
There's like, for example, in America, like, there has to be X amount of billboards and marketing material around saying, like, hey, gambling problem X, dude. You know what I mean? So there still is that for adults.
Is that really that annoying, though? Having to see a billboard that explains a common problem to people? Like,
no, but, like, maybe someone that's having a problem may see that and say that may be the, you know, their ticket out or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like regulated for adults in that fashion.
oh, okay. No, I thought you were arguing against. You're arguing for.
No.
Yeah. No, I don't know if the correct answer is removing loot boxes altogether, but I don't think anyone has a leg to stand on to say they shouldn't be like 21 or over. Like, there's no reason kids should be allowed to play these.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, when I was a kid, my grandma would buy scratch tickets, and sometimes she would let me scratch them. And sometimes people bring that up in chat as like, you see, it's like kids can gamble responsibly, and I'm like, no, she shouldn't have done that.
Yep. No, my mother did the same thing, and I think she probably regrets it. Like,
it was fun at the time, but then, like, psychologically, you don't understand what's going on. You're just like, this is fun.
But I think it's a little bit different, like you just joshing around with your grandma in the gravel pit versus like a kid who's like wound up into a game trying to get that knife, you know, like, and like is emotionally invested. But,
yeah, I understand.
But for all this,
I'm not saying Granny should be in jail. I'm just saying. I think that there is a case to be made that that's not a good example of like why we shouldn't regulate. Oh, there's a. Oh, never mind. There's a car in here.
What's your two-piece?
I got a mini and a scar, so I'm pretty good if you want to take this.
All right.
I also got these bullies for you right here.
Oh, thank you. I will say this though, for all this stuff we're talking about, I love to see a story like it generally, like I get fired up when I see a story like Stardew Valley. One dude busting his tail, gets the game done, smash hit.
I agree with you 100%. But I mean, and everything that comes before "but" is meaningless. But they also give people ammo for like, you know, why don't you just make a Super Meat Boy? And you're like, well, it's not really that easy. You know, there's like something to be said for game quality, but then there's also like, you know, an incredible amount of competition on Steam. It depends who. Oh, that's accident. Depends who notices your game when it comes out. Like 5,000 games a year are coming out on Steam now. It's not just as easy as just make a
Stardew Valley. Like, even that game, they got a publisher. They got Chucklefish published it, and that helped them out immensely, probably. Not with making the
bad game. Why don't you just make a good game instead? You chose to make a game that's stupid. Why didn't you just make Why didn't you just make Braid?
I think making games is a whole fuck ton a lot harder than people think. Yeah, like, I think. Like, it's all well and good to have an idea and to try to execute it. I think what people just do not understand is difficult is balancing a game. I think, and not even just a multiplayer game, but even a single player game. I think that aspect of like all of the extra numbers and ideas that go in to make a game fun, right? Because fun doesn't just happen. There's things that go into the fun. Like, you have to have all these things coming together, and you have to avoid a game being too difficult. You have to avoid it being too easy. You have to avoid it being too this, too that. There's so many things that you have to dance around while also trying to maintain your original idea of, I want my game to do this. It's unbelievably difficult, and most people fail.
And on like an economic level, it just makes no sense, like, why anybody chooses to make games. Like, the skill required to make a game that could conceivably be popular enough to make you a lot of money means you're like so readily employable at something that would just pay you way more that it just, whenever I see people like make fun of devs, I'm like, you understand, this guy could be pulling like 6 figures a year at Google, like, easily. But he like quit his job and is making his dream project, busting his ass like 60 hours a week, and they're lazy. Lazy dev didn't. I posted a bug on the forum. It's a 2-man team. They haven't even responded to me 45 minutes after I posted it. I guess you don't want your game to succeed.
No, but like, I think there's something to be said for that. The reason why they're not making 6 figures at Google, or why they're taking out a second mortgage on their home, a la Cuphead, is because they're passionate about what they're doing, and more often than not, it shows through in the execution in the game. And if they're not good at it, then they're not good executors, and the game isn't very good. And maybe, and this is harsh, maybe they shouldn't be making games. Maybe they should be working at Google and enjoying games, or making a game on the side instead of pushing all in. You know,
that's why I actually agree with you, even though I disagree with the means that you got to that point. You know, I still don't believe that in the, you know, the market chooses what has merit and what doesn't 100%.
What do you mean? How can you debate that?
Because it so often comes to being circular reasoning. Like, is Coca-Cola the best soft drink? A lot of people would say no, and a lot of people would say, of course, it sells the most. Does it sell the most because it's the best, or does it sell the most because it's pretty good and your grandma grew up drinking it, and, you know, there's ads for it on every single bus stop on planet Earth, and you're associating it with Christmas, and, you know, you were given it as a 5-year-old, so when you drink it implicitly you feel happy, you know, like.
Well, I think I think we can delineate this conversation very simply. We're talking about the best versus most successful, aka revenue generating. So is Coke the best pop or soda on the planet? I think everyone will say no, right? I'm sure you guys all have a soda that you like better than Coke, I would imagine.
Coke Zero.
Okay, so, but it's different because you're not talking about the best. Ooh, there's a drop right there. Right behind us. Is it worth it?
I don't think so. Like, well, how close is it?
Oh, you know, you guys gotta go now.
Oh, no chance.
But is it the most successful? Yeah. So you're mixing up two things, and the market will always will make whatever's supposed to be successful, even though it may not be the best.
I disagree with that.
What do you mean?
Because I don't think that. Again, I mean, things that are successful are supposed to be successful. Is just like the base distillation of it that I can't get behind.
Not things are supposed. The market is going to determine what's going to be the most successful.
By definition, that's true. You're basically saying the things that make the most money are going to make the most money.
Right. So what are you're trying to say, that the best things don't always make the most money?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't think that happens as often as you think.
What doesn't happen?
I think for the most part, the best games, they don't necessarily make the most money, but they do make money. I do
agree to some extent. Like when we follow a bunch of indie devs, and when they're like, you know, my game didn't do well on Steam, sometimes I play it and I go, I see why. Yeah, it is, and not to be callous, but like sometimes it is fairly rare that you go, this should sell 1 million copies and it's an undiscovered gem. That rarely happens.
Let me lob one at you, and I think you and I are both on the same side. Tumbleseed.
Yeah, I think that game. I don't know if the quote unquote. Oh, there's a truck here. 340.
You guys got 10 seconds though. You got to get in the circle.
Okay.
I don't know if the market let it down, but that is one where I'm like, people are still sleeping on it.
Yeah, it's a fun game, right?
Yeah.
But here's my thing. It's a great game. Maybe did they screw up their marketing? Maybe didn't they? You know what I mean? It's like they got to do everything right. They can't just make a great game sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you to some extent on that, but I think again that's like they made a great game and they screwed up the business portion. I think that's almost like the definition of why I feel the market doesn't always reward the best stuff.
I think the existence of Twitch and YouTube prevents great games from going unnoticed. All it takes is one of those guys to find a game. They're going to tell their friends, their streamer friends, and then they're going to play it. They're going to show it, and it just explodes from there. If it's a great game.
Oh, on the hill, Dan,
you don't have
285, but they're too far.
Go. Yeah. You guys got to get in the cover from them.
They're on
I think they have. I think that guy has the AWM. But like I think like getting over it, like that game has like just exploded. It's a great game.
Yeah,
it's a simple, well executed game.
My opinion, I think it's a Prone Boy at like 345, but I'm not sure. I think there are examples of that. I think there are some games where like one person playing it just never takes off. Like
I just think that's what allows the great. Like I think good games can still go unnoticed. I don't think a great game can go unnoticed. I don't think it's possible. I think it's totally reasonable for a good game.
You may be right.
Yeah. I agree with you.
But a great like 10 out of 10, even a 9 out of 10 game is people are going to find that game and play it.
The one thing I will say is that by definition, it's much harder to think of examples of that having happened. Because if a game has gone unnoticed, we wouldn't be as aware of it.
True. I don't know. I've discovered so many amazing games from Twitch and YouTube. Like Isaac, for example. I found Isaac because of YouTube.
Because of us two? Thank you.
I can't remember. I don't remember which Isaac video I watched first. I don't think it was yours. No offense.
Dan, do you have spare 556?
I can give you half of what I have.
Now I'm curious because like I don't know. Back then I was a young lad and I was like I watched the C-Nanners and those guys.
Oh yeah.
When I was younger, and I don't know if it was one of them that played it or what, but
I can't believe this is our most successful game this session.
Yeah, you guys haven't shot anybody, right? Like
I shot once, but it was a misclick.
And just chill here. You got 8 others. You got to worry about that Dubs guy. He's downed like 20 dudes with that AWM.
You want some 760s?
No, I don't.
Yeah, just watch the direction you guys are looking at because someone from behind you, you'll hear them coming. So like kind of split it. Split like one guy gets left, one guy gets right from the like.
All right, I got right.
So, all right, so go from rock over. You see the one showing us?
Oh yeah, right in front of you, Ryan, to the left. Right, to the left of that rock a little bit. He was peeking over the hill.
To the left of the tree, yeah. He's peeking again.
There he is, far left, Ryan.
There's two of them. We gotta get behind the rock. Gotta get behind the rock.
Yeah.
We may get tagged from the other side.
Yeah, now you guys gotta watch your other end. Because that's where AWM boy is.
Dude, you just threw that Red Bull like a champ. You just
there's one in front of us, dead ahead.
Oh, I wouldn't shoot him actually.
Yeah, he's going under the ridge, but he didn't see us.
Yeah, don't even shoot that guy. Let everyone else fight right now. You guys are weak, don't have a lot of good scopes. Okay, so now you gotta worry about these other guys you were shooting at first because they have to run right towards you. But they might run north. They might loop around to the north. You've got a good spot here. If you just chill here and move in with the blue, you'll be great. Just
okay, you see that guy? You see him about 295. I just saw the crown of his dome.
Do not shoot unless you have to here, I think. It's really important. You don't want to draw any attention because you're surrounded right now. They're coming. They're coming from the east.
At us, Dan. The ones from earlier.
Okay.
Ryan, he's peeking right. He can see you. He can see you.
Yeah, I got dusted pretty hard. Let me heal.
Is he far?
No, they're close.
They're close.
They're close. No, Dan, you're going too far out. They're looking right at you, Dan. They're in that dip. There you go. Just
Austin,
they have to come to you, remember.
Okay.
Just keep healing. Ryan's got you covered right now.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, just watch those nades. Oh,
wow, nice throw.
He got you. Brutal.
What did I get killed by?
A nade.
Nade.
Oh, you don't hear the explosion if the nade kills you now?
I heard it. I gotta know. Maybe not.
On my screen, I was just struck dead by Jesus himself. And also, I had maybe I got knocked by the nade and then you died.
Yeah, no. When two people die at the same time, they won't like die until later.
Because I felt like I was kind of still moving, which you can do if you're down.
Yeah, you were down. Like when two people die and they're the last ones on their team at the same time, the guy who dies last will stay alive for like.
All right.
A certain amount of time. It's weird. It's just a bug.
Well, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more for the future. But now, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.